to Critical Critique Pause on Point. Today we're going to be doing some Isekai bullshit, so that's going to be fun. We're going back
double
to the roots.
feature.
Yeah, we're going back to the roots. So yeah, we're gonna. I have no idea. I didn't watch this video beforehand because I'm lazy. So I've got no idea what to expect. We've got a very handsome looking motherfucker on the screen right now, so that's
I feel like I recognize what movie that screen cap is from.
Home Alone?
Home Alone.
Mario.
Home Alone.
Isn't it?
I have not watched that.
I have no idea what Home Alone movie that's from because I'm blanking. So something I just noticed, why does he have the time of the video? Like he's got 4:11 at the top.
Yeah, but if you look at the actual length, it is 4:12.
He's lying.
We don't talk about it. We don't talk about it.
What is he doing? We're gonna roast this dude. I can see it now. But anyway, I'll control the video. Just tell me when to pause or not, and let's start now. Oh wait, it's not.
Nice.
I am clicking the button, and the button is not working.
I need to see the fidget
You
spinner.
die in real life, at least once. This warning has been played out in such fine films like Brain Scan and Stay Alive,
If you die in the game, you die for real.
featuring everyone's favorite race car driver, Malcolm in the Middle. This is Isekai, Japanese for parallel world, and also a genre of storytelling where characters get transported from their world to another. It's super prevalent in anime and video games, though it has literary roots in the 8th century. Sure, you might have seen Dot Hack or
There's literary roots in the 8th century.
Well, there is...
Are you going to explain those roots?
Well, maybe, but there is, just for context, there is, of course, the literal meaning of Isekai being another world. But there is also the genre of Isekai, which has very different criteria, let's say. You can have a drama, but a historical drama is different from a drama, it's different from a soap drama, it's different from space drama. You can have an opera and a space opera, which are very different things. So
yeah, I just want to add on that point, like, Isekai isn't just, like, going to the game with your video game or something like that. Like, there have been tons of Isekais, which I'll bring up later. Like, for example, Digimon is a good example from the 90s.
Would you even consider Dot Hack Isekai? Like, because most of the characters, I'm not going to try to spoil anything from Science, but like most of the characters can regularly go in between the real world and the world, as it were. That's what they call it, the game in that.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a light novel I read called Infinite Denjogram, and it's the same thing. Like, they just go in between, like, this world and that world. So I feel like with Isekai, there's always, like, you can't leave, or you're trapped on that other side.
yeah,
is,
let's
like, one of the common themes I've seen.
state our own definitions of Isekai right now. From the top, Bio Gundam. What's your general definition of Isekai?
My general definition of Isekai is that someone has been transported to another world, and for some reason, or for plot reasons, they have to stay in that world and do shit. I don't know, and maybe at the end they go back, or maybe they can't go back and they're just stuck in that world. But my general definition is that, you know, for some reason, they're being transported to this other world because they're needed, or, you know, plot reasons. That's kind of my definition. Like, you have to be, like, actual transported, and you can't leave.
So
at least right away.
Yeah, my definition may be a little bit broader, because there are also works of Isekai where the main character can sort of go back and forth, but the main point of Isekai is that it's an unexplored world. A world free of the constraints, limitations, and obligations of the previous world.
Fresh start is what you've used quite a lot when we've talked about Isekai.
Yeah, and I forgot. I forget always what I said before. So yeah, fresh start.
Yeah, it's the idea of a fresh start and being transported to a new location to experience new
And
things.
a
Disconnected from the responsibilities of the past world, I guess.
but also a new place to explore, because this world has been explored, and
I think it's a stretch, especially in the case of Dot Hack, because they aren't physically being transported to the world. They are using VR headsets with controllers.
It's a similar issue with Sword Art Online, because Sword Art Online technically, like the first season maybe because they're trapped, but all the subsequent seasons they haven't actually been trapped. They've just been in the VR.
So
right?
what I'm getting from this is Ready Player One was an isekai.
No, Star. Let me tell you about my friend. Let me tell you about my friend, the greatest movie ever made, The Black Knight.
Oh my god, the show Quantum Leap is an isekai.
Yeah, let me tell you about The Black Knight, the greatest isekai of the black man who drowns in a moat with an amulet that transports him to medieval times.
That is much more of an isekai. I would consider
One day,
more of an isekai than...
One day, we're gonna watch that shit.
Here's the question I really want answered. Is the Divine Comedy an isekai?
Don't know.
Maybe.
No, because hell is technically a part of the earth.
If it's part of the Earth, then how come I can't get there normally?
Well,
How come I can't get my pickup?
I can go to
Grab
Japan,
there.
I can go to Australia.
and the cosmology and the Divine Comedy. Yeah.
oh my god. Alright, so should we continue?
yeah, Star Kitsune, what's your definition of isekai?
I've just... I shouldn't have been the last one, because I just have the most boring one. It's just... I guess similar to Bio Gundams in that it's reincarnated or transported to another world.
With no
And-
clear way of going back.
No,
No.
Yeah.
I don't include that in mine.
No.
Alright.
So just transported, just the definition of the word.
I guess I treat it similarly to like how I treat my definition of like anime, in that it has to be Japanese. And it has to come from like that kind of tradition. It can't just be anime is just any animation. It's the Japanese word. That's not how I see it, and I treat kind of isekai similarly to that, and that has to be
just a
from-
question: is then Sword Art Online an isekai?
no, it wouldn't, because it wouldn't fall under the transported or reincarnated to another
Yeah,
world.
it's like I said. It's like I said. They're not actually being trained. Like they're trapped in the virtual world. Yes, but
Is
they're not.
is afterlife stories like Hanabi Rei, if I said it right, that's that story with those angels.
Oh yeah, I remember that story.
Oh, I'm thinking of Angel Beats.
No.
So I guess that would work for like what you're going for. I guess
Yeah.
for your example.
That show was good.
Is Little Busters an isekai as well?
Little Busters.
No, I don't.
Isekai.
So,
I don't.
yeah,
I
but
don't usually consider like afterlife ones to be isekai.
Well, it's a new world you haven't explored yet.
Yeah, you're just exploring it after you're dead.
Well,
What is death?
that'd be more like a reincarnation where you are now
yeah,
alive again,
That's true.
rather
That's
than
true.
I'm just dead and this is like my soul or whatever.
Yeah, but that's our definitions of the way we can go further, I think.
All right. Let's continue.
Log Horizon and figure yourself an isekai expert. After all, it's an extremely popular idea that's been beat to hell and back.
What the fuck is up with the video quality? Is anyone else noticing this?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, it just went cloudy for
What-
some reason.
why
It
would
just went to
you-
144p.
Okay,
Heck yeah.
firstly, here's a pro tip. Right? I understand that you're trying to save on some fucking data for your internet bill, but download the 1080p version just so that if you're gonna use it in a video, right?
I go onto. I normally disavow piracy.
We did. We
But-
Disavow.
We disavow.
But like, go on like Nia and find like, what was it, Eri Rawls or something like that? Yeah. Go
just find
download
a
one
raw,
of theirs
yeah.
and then turn off the subtitles, and there you go.
Just
Yeah.
remake the video.
Just like
Oh my
because I tend to be the one in this team that usually comments on the video's quality itself, right? Listen, I understand that his logic is the logic is probably, oh well, people are probably going to tab out and not watch the video anyway. Well, here's a problem with that, right?
Some people do.
Yeah, some people some people
zoom in
don't.
on the
Is it-
wow, because that's
Is it that the video's
that's my
actually?
impression of
Oh no,
quality.
I was wrong. I thought it was just
Wow.
like the video at the moment was just bad for all of us. Like just the general quality went down for some
Yeah, I
reason.
know. I didn't.
No,
know it
it's
was
the
this.
actual
Yeah.
video.
Ooh.
Yeah. I was like, because I had to check. I was like, wait, what? Hang on a minute. I thought it was like YouTube had just knocked it down to like 120p.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, hang on a minute. But apparently, no. It's just the video. It's like, come on, dude. Like, you got to step up your game a little bit, right? If you're gonna get into this YouTube thing. Like, we started out with this shitty ass fucking ghetto fucking layout, and now look at us. We've got
I'm not gonna
fancy-
uptalk us. I'm not. I don't have enough of an ego to uptalk us, but yeah, no, like that even annoys me more than the subtitles. Also, please get rid of the subtitles if you can.
Database,
that's-
database, living in the database world.
I mean, it's a good song. It's a good song, but yeah,
There-
I
there's
have,
an
it on,
archive-
I have it on my PC.
There's an archive of openings that what was it, HD Kieran or something like that on Twitter, he maintains.
yeah.
Go download the opening, the clean version of the opening. There you go. Pro tip: you have like a
problem
good quality
solved.
video.
Yeah, but you're assuming this guy's actually going to watch this video. So.
Probably not, but here's the thing. Even
There's
if
a
they
chance.
It's
I
for
have
the
to have
sanity
hope.
of everyone
Li-
else that's
listen.
gonna watch the video.
don't, listen. Even if he doesn't, it's good advice for anyone else, right? You gotta improve your quality over time. You can't just stagnate and But yeah, get better quality shit. So let's continue.
But the definition of isekai is broad. Remember, it's parallel world after all, not virtual. So strictly speaking, Inuyasha is an isekai anime.
Oh, you see, you could get fucking good raws of fucking Inuyasha, but you
Yeah.
could
said-
get a good fucking log horizon.
I just want
It's
to mention
broad,
that,
and then made it a smaller definition.
yeah, I just want to mention that Log Horizon is probably like one of the few exceptions for the whole video game thing because they're like actually transported there.
Well, yeah, of course they
in
are.
the
Of
same
course
way,
they are.
I don't think there's so much of an exception because a good deal of isekai shows have game-like interfaces. Overlord has it. Log Horizons
Yeah, no,
has
but
it.
he's actually like transported there. Like,
Yeah.
I
Well,
just wanted to
is
mention.
Log
Yeah,
Horizon
yeah.
similar to like? Because I haven't watched or read it. Is it similar to like Overlord in that they got transported basically through
Yeah,
the game?
it's
Yeah.
similar to Overlord, where it's more like a physical. It's
Sarkis
kind of
may
it's
just open the thing I gave you.
it's kind of a physical transportation. It's like they get mentally transported into the avatars that they had. So their avatars become their physical bodies, right?
Mhm.
Essentially, and we don't actually know what's going on back in the real world yet. I haven't read far enough. Like
I know
the
that the
show hasn't ended. Didn't end at a point where it shows us what's happening in the real world. Nor does I'm not sure how far the light novels have gone. And no, I don't. But I don't fucking need to have you link me before you ask, because I know you are. So I don't. I'm not sure if it's a fact of them being their minds just being transported, or if they physically have been transported into the fucking.
Yeah,
mentioning
but-
on the whole like Log Horizon thing, the author just I think finished volume 14 after he done with his jail shit, so we should be doing more volumes of Log
Yeah,
Horizon shit.
yeah.
He what?
Yeah.
That's what was going on in the real world.
Oh yeah, you didn't know about this. That
No.
he got done for tax evasion.
Well,
Oh, okay.
it's tax evasion.
That's not the
There's
worst
a-
thing that
Yeah,
people
well,
in this
there-
fandom
there's
have
some-
gotten done in for.
Yeah, there is some
is theft.
There
Funnily
is some.
enough- Oh,
there
yeah.
it might be not as bad as pure tax evasion. It might be just as something like if wrong forms filled in something like that.
I'm not sure. I would have to I would have
Yeah,
to read
But
up
I'm
on it.
also,
But
I'm not also
and I find it
knowledgeable enough.
I find it very interesting because Log Horizon has a lot of libertarian type of values in it. A little bit. There's a little bit of there's a lot of nations state
Gamers
building.
rise up.
Yeah,
But
there's
that's
a
the problem with that. Like, despite the fact that Rurouni Kenshin's author is very clearly a libertarian based off of his personal history, there are no libertarian values in Rurouni Kenshin.
Yeah.
Also a pedophile.
Well, yeah, but just to
Well, I said
finish
libertarian.
the point that
Returns of pedophiles confirmed.
so
like that.
Log Horizon Overlord and even Slime and
Newgate.
Yeah, I've read Newgate.
Slime also has game-like logic in its worlds. Kumo
To an
ga
extent,
Naniga
yeah.
with the spider. There's
Oh, I
also
thought we were just talking about ones that have like transported through a game, not just
Yeah.
game-like worlds.
See, okay,
well,
here's the
but
thing, though.
my
and
point more is
especially-
my point more is that there is a lot of game-like interfaces and mechanics in these new worlds.
I think the limit that I would be willing to give is Sword Art Online, because I'm sorry, but dot hack is theoretically possible with existing technology, because all it is a VR headset with a controller and I think head tracking, and like we already have that, so like I'm sorry, VR chat is not an isekai.
I also want to mention that I don't really count Inuyasha as an isekai because Kagome can go back and forth pretty early on in the series, and also it takes place during the Sengoku Jidai, like before Oda Nobunaga came to power. So
All right, let's keep going because we're only 52 seconds into this fucking thing, you know. And we got 2 to get through today, so.
May. A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court is an isekai novel.
Presto! Imagine what I could do with a tree.
A Kid in King Arthur's Court is a derivative isekai movie. Sliders is an isekai TV show. Hell, The Pagemaster is isekai. Preschoolers get their share of the nightmare fuel that is the Hug-a-Bunch. So, just how did the parallel world premise
So
come
do we
about?
agree
Remember
on
when we
these
mentioned
isekais?
no,
I don't think.
Page Master, yeah.
Yeah, Pagemaster's good shit. I have to rewatch that. I didn't even. Fucking hell.
I guess
watching that as a
Labyrinth
kid.
too.
Yeah.
what about Dark Crystal?
I never watched that.
I don't remember enough of
No, was
Dark
it?
Crystal.
No, oh no, I'm thinking of Labyrinth. I think. Never mind.
I don't know. But, I don't know.
Do we
I
think
find-
that
I find-
isekai is being stretched a little too thin here, or
I find it the problem is I find it very weird when you take a Japanese centric genre and try to apply it to the memes about Black Knight aside, right? I find it very weird taking a genre that is, even if it fits, it just doesn't feel right. It's kind of like what Star was talking about with the whole anime debate, with using
Like,
anime on every
this
type
feels-
of animation.
Like someone unironically calling Shrek an anime.
Right.
That is what
Like,
it feels like to me.
Like that's the issue I kind of have with the people that say that try to use isekai on like everything and try to say, oh well, what was it? Wizard of Oz is an isekai and is the first isekai or some shit like that, right? It doesn't really work in my head.
yeah,
Jonah and the Whale was Vor.
isekai, the inside of a whale, never seen before, new territory, blah blah blah.
There's a whole fucking society in there.
Yeah, it's a complete new world.
We represent the whale spleen, and we want you.
All right.
Yeah, but my thing is indeed isekai is more of a to me isekai is more than just the descriptive of being in a new world. It's also has some criteria, as in it has to be a fresh start in an unexplored world.
Does it though? Because there's, fuck. I brought it up in the last video I was in.
Which would have been Slime.
No.
Yeah, it would be
Actually,
slime.
no. Yeah, it would have been. But I brought up the Black Company Isekai, where the whole point of it is he keeps on thinking he's gonna get a new start, and then he's right back where he was.
Yeah, but that is I think also still falls within the new start, as in he goes for it. He sees an opportunity too, but I assume his own mistakes bring him to the same point. And not knowing anything really of the show or the manga in this case, I think, is that just expecting a fresh start because there's a new environment doesn't mean you'll get it. You have to work for it. That's my quick reading of the theme, based on your short explanation.
All right.
Let's see, the funny thing about that one is he's in a black company. He gets isekai'd to another world. He's like, yeah, I'm good. And then he gets sent to some fucking like mine, right? Where it's even worse than what he's working for. So he works his way up. He eventually takes over the mine, leads a revolution, and then just gets isekai'd again into an even worse situation.
No.
And becomes just a battle slave, essentially.
Wow. Okay. All
That was just fun. It's a fun take on the genre.
It sounds fun. Anyway, but yeah, let's keep going.
I just had to describe it.
See where we go.
In the 8th century, the first recorded isekai story revolves around Urashima Taro, a fisherman who rescues a turtle and releases it. The turtle transforms into a woman and spirits Taro away to an undersea palace. Don't want to read a 1,000+ year text? That's okay. It got an anime in 1918. Many popular series fall into the isekai category. Alice in Wonderland, The Chronicles of Narnia, Escaflowne, Digimon, and many more.
You sound perplexed.
So, okay, there's an undersea palace, right? Does that mean the Little Mermaid is isekai? Because like it's presumably on Earth if you're being spirited away to an undersea palace. You are.
I think he's
Actually, is spirited away an isekai.
I think he's using. He would probably use the justification of, well, it's another land, right? It's not necessarily another world.
That's a fish out of water story.
Wouldn't Spirited Away be one?
Also, another land isn't just Japan. Another land that I can just go to. Does that mean I've been isekai'd there?
Yeah.
The trade missions to the Far East are isekais.
Okay, look, if going underwater.
Oh my god, Manifest Destiny is an isekai.
Well, see, that's the issue if you're calling everything an isekai.
The Wild West is an isekai. Yeehaw. No. Okay, so if you're going underwater, if going underwater counts as being isekai, would going up to the International Space Station count as that? Because that's the logic. Like, you're moving a location.
Going to Mars.
Well, the Familiar of Zero was somewhere in that, and that it was still. It's a very far location in like the other side of the universe, but still technically supposed to be in the same universe, if I remember correctly.
Well, yeah, but then I think the themes of being a fresh start in a new location, etc., new undiscovered lands, way more than the fact that it's a completely another unrelated dimension.
Mm-hmm. Actually, speaking of like same place, is BioShock in isekai?
Yeah.
Yeah, under this guy's definition, maybe.
Well, but not on the mine, because I don't think that would count as an isekai. It's more of a fish out of water story.
Yeah. Also, like this dude brought up like Digimon and Escaflowne. I would count those as isekai because literally, like at least at like
you would count. I would count Digimon definitely because Digimon is pretty. Yeah, it's pretty isekai in terms of.
Now they do.
They do get transported to another world.
Here's the thing, though. I think we've kind of established at this point that you can't.
You didn't let me finish. Like at least for like the first season, they couldn't go back until like the halfway point, and they went back again. And then like in season 2, they could go back and forth. But like Digimon,
if we're talking about solely the first season, I would say the first season would count because
Well,
that was
I don't-
like the end goal was to get back home, sure, but in saying that, I would say that would still it would be a light count, right? It would be very, very
Well, actually,
light.
I think the end goal was to save both their world at the end, like spoilers.
Well, at the end, yeah, but I'm talking about
Spoilers on a children's show. That's
yeah,
like
show
2
from
decades.
the two decades old.
Hey,
Yeah.
fucking
I-
Digimon is lit.
No, but I'm talking.
Digimon.
But I'm talking about in the initial stages of getting transported, right? In the initial stages of them, like the first half, right, would be we want to get home, right, because they're kids.
Well,
Alright.
I think one of the things of Isekai is that the characters can't or don't really work towards getting back.
Like Death March to a Parallel World.
Well,
Yeah,
I reckon
that
you
is an
could- you-
isekai.
I mean, that dude's just like fucking around. Like, he
I
doesn't
mean-
care. He's just like, I've got a couple of like demi-human slaves. Fuck it,
Well,
let's go
you see,
merching
you
Oive.
could possibly have it set up as like at the start they want to go home.
Yeah,
and then as
but-
they acclimatize, but then as they acclimatize to the new situation, the want to go home becomes less and less.
Yeah, so I think also one of the characteristics of an isekai, modern isekai if you, even, is that the characters don't go home,
Mm.
or can't, or don't have a focus on.
At the very least, you can't. I think the one thing that just kind of has come, to me from this video is that you can't define isekai just by they go to another world at some point. That's it's evolved
Yeah,
into something
I-
different now.
I
have
feel
been
like
dissed.
I feel
Does
like
Ratchet and Clank count as an isekai because you go to different planets?
well, no, look, I feel like I'm a bit looser than Ali on the definition a little bit. I'm willing to kind of bend it a little bit for some things. However, in saying that, I think that there is definitely a more hard, fast definition than just go to other world equals isekai. I think there needs to be there is definitely a certain kind of plot structure and a certain kind of tropes that kind of there's a commonality between a lot of the isekai type stories that you see, even though the settings might be different and the characters might be different and there are many differences.
Score
There's a core, it's almost like there's a core kind of values within.
Well, they have their
this
own
type of
version
storytelling.
of the hero's journey. You're going with, I guess.
Kind of, it's like that.
There's also the exploitation of like ideas, because some of these places are like medieval societies, and if you come from Japan or like a first world country, a lot of those ideas that they have in the medieval times would seem backwards to you.
So,
Yeah,
So there's also
so
a
I'm
healthy
willing.
amount
Yeah,
of a healthy amount of imperialism, where your culture is
Yes,
always
the
better than
Japanese
the other.
nationalism.
yeah, so like I said, I'm willing to be a bit more lenient, but I do feel like there is certainly commonality. I think that you could probably get away with maybe lacking a couple of those traits and maybe get away with it. But I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
mean,
I feel like there's definitely it's like a checklist, and you have to get at least a passing score, right?
Well,
you can
I
get
would
a
say
you
it's
can
more
get
of
you can get a couple of questions wrong, but you need to be able to,
Well, I've seen more of a scale where, a 0 to 10, and if you have more than 35 points, you're an isekai. So you can have 0 on the, or let's say you can have 0 on the, you're still on the same physical plane, like Zero no Tsukaima, Zero's familiar. But your, fresh starts, unexplored, etc., not the real drive to go home.
Speaking of like on the same plane of existence, like same same universe but different world. Like, what about Tenchi Mayo War on Grammar? Like,
Yeah, so
if anyone's heard about that,
It's always no, I haven't heard of it, but to me, it's more of a gliding scale of different aspects of isekai, and if you have enough of them in enough, strong values, strong aspects are strong enough, then together they're more isekai than another story.
All right, let's keep going. See how this goes. We're getting close to halfway, so 35 minutes in and we're getting close. Getting close to halfway, but let's see.
More. All you truly need to be included into this category is a protagonist traveling through a portal, say a wardrobe, a book, or even a computer, into another realm. Being a long-lived storytelling tool, Isekai is rife with tropes. Among the most common is wish fulfillment, the satisfaction of desire through an indirect medium. Take Sword Art Online. The main character is seemingly unstoppable from the get-go in the video game world. Wish fulfilled, the guy can defeat any opponent and has a harem of admirers trailing him at all times. Or Beastmaster 2.
Not all isekai is always wish fulfillment. Like, there's a lot of isekai out there where the main character has to suffer and go through trial after trial to become strong.
I think it's kind of...
That's not wish fulfillment.
It's kind of like
wish fulfillment in the way that literally any other story is wish fulfillment.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah,
it's
well,
kinda...
if you take there's a series called Ifueta. It's literally about the character who has to the character gets betrayed, tossed into a fucking life or death situation, and has to fucking fight for his own life just to survive to see tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not. He gets his arm ripped off and his eye gouged out.
There are stories.
Get the fuck out of here.
More isekai stories are wish fulfillment than not.
I know, but I just want to mention that they're not all.
I feel like that's just a stereotype.
That is generally understood. That there are more stories about wish fulfillment than not wish fulfillment.
I think this comes back. I think this is
that comes from I'd say that comes more from just amateur writers though. Than anything inherent about the genre.
I feel like this comes back down to my checklist analogy, where it's like, wish fulfillment is on the list, but it's like an optional, right? It's not necessarily, and again, it's something that's. I mean, most stories are wish fulfillment because the point is, most of the time are. A common thing within Isekai is the idea of the blank slate character, right? The idea that you're supposed to impose yourself onto the character, similar to video games. Because I think we've talked about this before, where a lot of Isekai, of course, take a lot of things from video games, right? The interfaces, the rules, the logic, right? So... Sometimes you'll have quite a lot of cases where the main character will be let's be real, Kirito is kind of that. He's a bit of the blank slate, where you're able to sort of...
I'm just the normal dude who ended up in this situation, but I have cheat powers.
Yeah, exactly. But it's his personality...
are boring.
His personality is easy for young readers to impose themselves onto. Well, I wouldn't say it's called vanilla. There's a term for it, but it's passing me at the moment. Self-insert, I guess.
Yeah,
self-insert. Self-insert.
Just admit it.
Yeah. Well, yes, but self-insert is more along the lines of the author inserting themselves, rather than the author creating a blank slate to allow other people to insert themselves. I think there's possibly another term that I just haven't got in my vocabulary for it.
Tend to use blank slate.
Yeah, I think blank slate's the closest I've got, right? So I'll keep using that. I think that, I think that the wish fulfillment angle, I don't think it's a necessary component to an isekai. I think that you can have an isekai where you have a character that's not a blank slate and easily relatable.
Well, let's use an example. Let's Shield Hero. Isn't wish fulfillment.
Well, no.
Well, okay, I think what he's going for with wish fulfillment is more along the lines of the cheat character. I very quickly get my powers. I very quickly get strong, and I'd put that along the same lines of being required for isekai in the same way that a game world would be. That it's common, it's not required.
It's like I said, it's on the checklist, but it's not a requirement of the checklist. It's just a extra little thing that you can tick off.
Here's the thing about wish fulfillment, Bio. It doesn't have to be a positive thing. People undergo wish fulfillment for things like Apocalypse Now sometimes.
So yeah. Anyway, let's keep going, and we'll see. What's his next point?
where a barbarian that can communicate with animals travels to Los Angeles and solves the problems of an evil warlord and a neutron bomb. A classic.
You gotta get yourself some fresh thread.
Marsh from Final
Favorite
Fantasy Tactics
Isekai,
Advance
Bill and
departs from the
Ted's
magicless,
Excellent Adventure.
mundane existence, the land of Ivalice, where he can now swing swords and cast spells. He's about 13. The newest Isekai trend is the virtual world setting. Starting with .hack Sign, which featured a character that could not log out of an MMO, multiple shows and games have used the trapped in a game trope as a linchpin. Sword Art Online, Log Horizon, Overlord, and others use this plot point as a vehicle to drive their stories. Why have
Jesus Christ, why is the video quality so bad on the log? Why you gotta do my boy Log Horizon duty like that, mate? Why you gotta do
He
this?
doesn't
to
like
me?
Log Horizon. He
Yeah.
secretly hates it.
Jesus, dude. What the
That's
fuck?
always
Anyway,
too bad.
yeah.
Shame that he's
Anyway.
just kind of repeating the same point.
Did
Yeah,
you
a
say
little bit.
trapped
Well,
in
he-
a game or trapped in a game-like world there?
I'm not sure. I'd have to go
Because if
back.
it was
Well-
trapped in a game, it's just wrong.
I can go back a little bit. Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me
I'm gonna
just drag.
scream, I swear.
I'll go back to there. So he's talking
Yeah, it should
about
be good.
this. All right, let's continue.
trend is the virtual world setting. Starting with .hack Sign, which featured a character that could not log out of an MMO, multiple shows and games have used the trapped in a game trope as a linchpin. Sword Art Online, Log Horizon, Overlord, and others use
He
Yeah,
says
no, those last two were are not.
Yeah, he says trapped in the game trope. Not trapped in the game world. He says trapped in the game trope. So he's talking about the trope of being trapped in a game.
Which just is untrue about those last two.
Yeah, but that's a general problem of this video, just generalizing way too much.
I want to go back to
It's-
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
I know. All right, let's keep going. We're
That was
almost
a
there.
good show.
this plot point as a vehicle to drive their stories. Why have MMOs become so popular? Is it the fact that a digital world is easier to mold and explain to the audience?
Gotta get that Chinese
The dual
money.
nature of a virtual and real world, inhabited by the same person, lends itself to discussions regarding the human nature versus the online persona. Also, the idea of technology gone wrong is an effective hook, sidling up nicely with the fear of the unknown. Or it could simply be that we're all gigantic nerds and secretly wish we could teleport ourselves to the world of Azeroth. There are notable attempts at subverting these tropes, however. Shows like Konosuba and ReZero.
Those are not subversions.
Yeah, that's not what a subversion and
Elias, they
Why is...
Reconstruction.
Okay,
Don't
please
do
don't do that. Please don't do that.
It's horrible on
Please
the
do
audio.
not eat your mic.
Yeah, it's really not funny as well. So, I don't like ReZero doesn't come off as being a subversion to me. It comes off as just being another way to do that kind of.
Konosuba definitely isn't a subversion. It's just a parody.
Yeah, parody is a better word for Konosuba. Definitely, I don't think I think he's using the wrong word there.
Well,
Yeah.
this is the trouble with the people who only focus on the anime and the shows that do this, is that he's ignoring all of the fact that this is primarily a light novel genre, light novel and a web novel genre. That is where Isekai primarily comes from and primarily gets influenced by. And if you understand that, you understand that those weren't really subversions of the existing genre in those formats.
Yeah.
It was new because no one else it was new because nothing else like that had gotten animated yet.
Just for reference,
Yeah.
Shield Hero, the web novel of Shield Hero started 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Elias, I was about to
Did it?
mention that. How dare you steal my thunder?
And that's another point. ReZero isn't a subversion of the Isekai genre. It's more of a, if you want to call it, a subversion of the, how do you call it? Overpowered main blank slate character. Where he isn't, he's being put down constantly and has to learn his place instead of just being granted power just because he's the protagonist.
Perhaps that's what's confusing him,
Yeah.
because he possibly is seeing that and thinking that that's a subversion on the entire genre rather than just a subversion
It's
on that
just a-
particular trope.
It's a twist
Yeah, well,
on the
listen,
genre.
listen, a lot of these people. I mean, sorry. I think what this person is confused. I think this person doesn't have that much experience with anime, because a lot of people say like, "Oh, it's different. It's subversive." Like that is, in my experience, what I've seen is a lot of people confuse something as different as subversive or deconstruction and other sort of buzzwords.
So anyway, let's cap this off.
Yep.
Take the god-moded Mary Sues and Gary Stews and tosses them in the trash, replacing them with ineffectual individuals who putz around getting their clocks cleaned. Konosuba even has the characters living in poverty for several episodes, sleeping in stables and eating scraps.
Wow. What other isekai have ever done that?
Isekai shows no signs of slowing down. Hopefully newer isekai stories expand the concept beyond what has already been achieved, evolving.
Also, I really hate...
Evolving... What?!
Okay, hang on, no, because I want to make a point here about the video.
Okay.
I'm going to make a point here about the video again, right? I really fucking hate this low-beat hip-hop video essay music. I'm really getting sick of this shit, because it's the same thing. Because I've been watching a few kind of these types of videos, like, just because they get popped into my recommended. Like, I watched one about the Happy Salesman, which was quite a good one. So I don't know. I don't bring them up if I don't think they're interesting to, like, talk about, right, in a video. But a lot of the time, I swear it must be like it's either a thing that's inside YouTube's like free to use music thing, or they're using the same fucking free use music bullshit, because they all have the same fucking soundtrack, and it's really annoying. I'm so tired of that shit.
I'll tell you exactly. I bet you he got this from Kevin MacLeod's website. There's nothing wrong with that. Kevin MacLeod is an amazing person for the amount of free shit he's given the internet to just use in the backgrounds of videos and stuff like that. But
yeah, it's just I don't like this kind of low hip. Like it's making me tired.
The lo-fi hip hop to study / relax to.
I don't like it because it's making me tired of his video. Because I'm getting tired.
Yeah, the idea is that it's not distracting. I think that's the idea of it.
Well, it's kind of failed at that because it distracted me.
What you notice is distracting.
And that's the problem.
Just
because
put some drone ambience in the background.
Yeah, because the reason I've noticed is because it's the same like tracks. Like I swear I've heard. It's like I've heard this one before. It's like if you ever watch creepypasta channels, they do the same thing. They have the same bunch of tracks that they use.
Well,
in their creepypasta videos.
All American TV shows have the same, like, if there's some tension in the scene, there's some...
Yeah, they're using the same,
sound effects 10 times
There's a little bit of that, but when we're talking about, like, a 4-minute YouTube video, right? You want to try and keep... Because you're making a very short and concise point, technically. Because it's a 4-minute fucking video, right? You want people to be engaged. You don't want to be like putting people to sleep with your music. you can't like, and I feel like the music's
metal is what you're telling us.
Well, I feel like also the music's a little bit like the music is kind of too close to his voice volume as well, which isn't helping. So I think that if I was gonna give any like advice, I would say you need to, if you're gonna have background music, the first thing you should do is make sure it's like at least 2 steps more quiet than you, and also make sure it's not something that's going to put people to sleep, because it's ugh. So anyway,
there's a lot of videos that or there's a lot of music that's lower in beat count and is less distracting, that isn't and lo-fi hip hop.
And here's another tip: watch other people's videos and don't use the same thing. Use something different. Because
yeah, I just want to mention that that maybe using exactly the same, using the exact same thing, like background music, because you want to give your video some sort of like individuality, instead of just making it like this production line of quote unquote essay videos with the same music, same background.
Yeah, because
with maybe slightly different opinions.
You're in a competitive market on YouTube, right? You're in a very competitive market, so you have to like
Yeah,
make
and
sure.
there's no
Like
and
you
there's-
can copy what other people are using, sure, but don't fucking become a copycat of that, and that's what annoys me. So anyway, we're almost done.
You know,
I'll let you
there's
finish.
also there's also no problem with like having your own style and then like just changing it over time. Like for example, you know, I have
Like-
very simple.
Kind of what we've done over time is we've changed the
Yeah,
layouts. and
we have a style,
Yeah.
and we just you just update it slowly and slowly and slowly, and you know people will gravitate towards that because they like your style or something like that. But don't just pump out these like essay videos. They're like a dime a dozen.
Yeah, so I think that that was just a point I wanted to make before we cap off because we're almost done. So let's continue.
Instead of rehashing the common tropes. What are some of your favorite isekai stories?
Ah, fuck!
Yeah,
Bill and
I
Ted's
saw this
Excellent
coming.
Adventure.
That made my fucking headphones ring. What the fuck, dude? Don't bass boost like that. Jesus Christ! Like I can hear it rattling in my. Yeah, fuck.
Well,
Oh god, I'm not gonna comment on the looks, but just
You're not
fuck,
going
dude.
to comment on the soy look. Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna comment on that because I don't like actually commenting on people's looks unless it's necessary, like with pedantic romantic. But fucking Jesus, dude.
I could-
Glasses.
I don't
What
see
a
it.
nerd.
Can you go a little bit further because I don't see.
Oh,
I just
okay.
see the black white.
Hey,
Yeah,
thanks
there
for
he
watching.
is. Oh,
And
I
if you
was-
really like the
Now I see.
What's
you
with
go.
his eyebrow though?
Yeah, there's a way.
Like his expression.
I don't know. I don't care about his looks.
His
I care
face
about
looks
his.
really weird. He's like.
All right, we've gone.
I just fucking said I don't care about his looks. I care about the quality of his video, and I have to say, like, dude, just don't bass boost that shit, cause fuck.
Yeah. Can
Or
we
if
go
you're
to
gonna
the
bass
next
boost
video?
it, at least go all the way and do it
Actually,
right.
well, here's the thing. Do we want to do the next video in the same video? Because we're at an hour at the moment, so
yeah,
we could.
we'll promise to make this one quicker because this video
All
is
right.
from Crunchyroll. It's been over a year. It's over a year old, so it's before the big
All right,
isekai
well,
craze. So maybe
if
let's
you
see.
if you want to load it into the thing, then,
You should just play. If somebody just plays the play button on the thingy in the chats there.
because there's a lot of cool stuff like
think
it.
it
Check
might
out
go to the next
fanbyte.com for
one.
the latest and greatest in games
Yeah, I
and
just want to
entertainment
mention
and
that
tech.
he is like one of his eyebrows is up, and I'm not very good at reading faces, but it just looks really odd to me. Like, it's almost like
it didn't go to the next one. You have to put it. You haven't put it in the playlist. You have to
Alright.
put the next. So get the link for the next one and put it in the thing. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there you go.
What is it?
Yeah, let's just go right
Anime
in.
Academy.
All right, we're
This
going right
can
into
only go
Crunchyroll.
well.
So before we get started, we're gonna get the first thing out the way. Don't subscribe to Crunchyroll.
Please
Just don't.
do not.
Don't do it.
It doesn't support
Because-
the industry.
No. Don't believe their lies.
Crunchyroll hypocrites.
Don't believe their lies. Because here's the thing. I'm getting this out the way now because I know at some point we're going to rant about it. So we might as well just get it out of our system, right? We might as well just say, look, Crunchyroll are liars. They're just generally a bunch of assholes. Don't trust what they say. They're not supporting the industry. They're probably doing more harm than good with their exclusivity
Do not
bullshit.
believe Miles's lies.
Do not believe Miles's lies. And
Also,
just
don't believe
fuck.
Mother's Basement. He's a corporate shill.
We've already
So-
established that. Everybody
already
from
established
Orbit
that.
can establish
That goes without saying.
So
Mother's Basement is supporting the death of the industry. Confirmed.
So just look, Crunchyroll is a shit company. Keep that in the back of your head while you watch this with us. Talking to the viewer. So anyway, let's get going.
Welcome back to Anime Academy. We're all about helping you understand the wonderful world of anime in hopes that
Better
it sucks you
quality.
in and has
And
you
how
thrive.
and
Today's
you
class
give
is
us
on a
money.
genre-
That's
Yeah,
also important.
yeah. See, this is what all the money's got. What your
Subscribe.
This is what your subscription money goes into, making these highly overproduced videos.
If I
Getting it-
if
getting
I
a
look
Twitter
up
account banned.
if I look up her Twitter handle on Encyclopedia Dramatica, do you think I'll get a hit?
No.
Please
I don't
don't.
know. Please
Do
don't.
not.
Please don't. Please don't.
And I don't
I
think you'll
also
get
want
a
to
hit.
mention that I can make a video like this for like. I can make a video like this in like a few minutes, and it will cost me nothing.
All right, let's continue.
genre of anime known as Isekai, which literally translates to different
Oh my
world.
gosh.
The name sets
Literally. Well, have they got that right, Ellie?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they at least got something
Do
right.
they have a citation? Have they have Japanese
Oh, for
people?
fuck's sake.
You know,
Well, they should have put the original Japanese characters up there. That would be nice, but whatever.
Yeah, anyway, let's continue.
yeah, they didn't
it
have enough
all. These
subscribe
series
money.
feature protagonists, usually high schoolers, who are magically transported to an
Stop.
alternate fantasy.
Well,
Wait.
It's not always high schoolers. Sometimes it's adults,
Yeah.
young adults, even old men. So
there wasn't a,
or older
Yeah,
characters.
no, well, look. I know we're going to be a bit trigger happy here because it's Crunchyroll, but to be
Crunchyroll's
fair,
just pandering to their audience.
to be fair, she said usually, right? Like she didn't say like all the time it's high schoolers. She just said usually high schoolers. So I'm
Yeah,
really,
I know, but when I see stuff
I'm not
like
I'm not
Crunchyroll-
gonna like. I want to be at least a little bit fair, right? I don't go into these things wanting to fucking destroy the shit out of them, right?
At least one chamber.
After you started with "Don't ever subscribe."
Yes,
to Crunchyroll,
that's
Crunchyroll
why.
is
That's
trash.
yeah.
But
that's
I don't
why.
want to be too harsh.
Look, no, stop.
Look.
Shush. Listen to me. The reason I did that was to get it out of the way, so I could actually give a fuck about the quality of the actual video and not just make the whole session just fuck Crunchyroll, right? I want
there's
to
no
actually
need to go. If they say usually, then it's understood. It is not all the time. That means this statement they just made is valid. So there's no.
Yeah,
I
like,
know, I just wanted to mention
there's
that-
there's no reason.
need.
There's no need to, because if they had said always high schoolers, then yeah, that's a
All right, just continue.
right.
Okay, we've already
wanted to bring up that
we've
point.
already slayed them. We don't need to reload the gun.
Yeah. Like let's just. I'm trying to look at this as objectively as possible, right? So let's continue.
realm. Isekai is a narrative tool used in many genres of manga, appearing in shonen, seinen, and shoujo forms. The genre can mean major differences in the tone of the story, making it bright and optimistic or dark and moody. The gender of the character
11 Eyes is in an
Okay.
isekai.
Okay, another issue that I saw was that they mentioned manga but not light novels. Should have mentioned light novels.
And
right?
web novels.
Yeah,
And web
like
novels.
if you look on like light novel Wikipedia, like a good chunk of light novels coming out nowadays are isekai.
I'm
And,
gonna chop that up to this being targeted at normies that probably don't know
Well,
what a
with a
light novel even
Crunchyroll
is.
subscription, which only includes manga and anime.
Yeah, there you go.
Though I am glad they mentioned shoujo isekai, because that's something I tend to find is very overlooked in these kind of videos.
Mm.
I think I've read one or two of them. They're not that bad.
I've read plenty of them. They're actually really good.
Yeah, I have a
Oh,
sneaking suspicion.
Slide me some recommendations.
Well, okay, whatever.
Will do.
Thank you.
I have a sneaking suspicion that'll probably be due to the fact that the shonen isekais tend to be more popular.
Well,
in
they
terms of-
tend to be the ones that get animated.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, and also like think of like the main audience. Most of it is like young males. What do young males
and he
generally
cut
like?
out.
Oh, they like
He
action.
got cut out. Rip, we lost Bio. Rip. The Crunchyroll got him.
Dead.
Can you hear me?
Who are they coming for next?
We're back.
They sent Mother's Basement to the house. He's like Hitman 47 for them.
Mother's Basement teleports behind
Yo.
you. Nothing personnel, kid.
Speak.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
All right. Well, the thing I wanted to mention. What? Fuck! I forgot my point.
Well,
never
yeah,
mind.
let's continue the video then.
Alright.
Mother's
Who finds them?
Basement unfurls the gun and is saying something like, "Oh, what has Gunslinger Girl taught me about assassination?" Right before he blows your head off.
Oh yes, I know what. I was gonna say.
Alright.
The reason why a lot of shonen get animated is because their target demographic is young boys or
Yeah,
young men.
and with
And
the,
what
the
do
target
young-
audience
you
is
did- you did-
bigger and has more money to spend and
Yeah, but you
more
didn't
revenue
really
spent.
finish.
That's
Yeah, and
common
what do you,
knowledge.
you know? What do you, yeah, you didn't really finish. Like, what do generally young men like in their shows? Oh, they like action and adventure. I mean, as a kid, I love the action shows.
I could feel Ellie's fucking want to just get moving. So it's good. Yeah,
All right, let's move. I'm done.
Yeah, let's get going.
themselves in a fantasy setting almost always matches the intended audience and can make for certain differences in the story. No matter where the character ends up, there's always a how, which can make a big difference in how the story plays out. An ambassador from the world can show up in ours, seeking the hero of prophecy. A magical book in the library pulls them into its story during a trip to the Konbini. Depending on the how, the main character ends up in the Isekai.
Could she have just said convenience store?
No.
Well, that's the Japanese way.
No.
Maximum
No.
weep.
Also, what does konbini mean?
We have to.
The Japanese word for convenience store.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. Why didn't she say that?
because
To
we
confuse
why.
people like you.
Yeah, because we.
I'm not confused. I'm just saying that for people who don't know Japanese,
Sure.
you know, they may not know that.
Sure.
Because they're normies.
I mean, if people are watching, it's not really normies. It's really just weebs. Go ahead. It was a minor thing.
she's
It was a
just
minor thing.
Flexing
Right.
on the
Alright.
normies.
Alright.
They may be able to move back and forth between
Flexing on
worlds.
the
They may be
Xenoweebers.
stuck until they achieve some important goal, or they may be trapped there forever. Trying to
Oh
find
my
a way home
gosh.
can be a major drive in the story for the character, worrying about their friends and family, schoolwork, or just getting back to someplace safe. Speaking of the new world, the Isekai is always a high fantasy setting, sort of a
Not true.
required
No.
element.
No,
See
it's
that's
not.
that's a point where you go, yeah, no, right? That's
Jojo Simply is
wrong.
a high fantasy.
no. That's
Nazi lollies.
I mean, of course, I wouldn't
To the fatherland, the
Well,
German
Mommy
army
march.
And that was it? Did you say low fantasy or high fantasy?
High
High
fantasy.
fantasy.
Well, high
but
fantasy
there's
is mostly
plenty that are low
characterized with-
fantasy.
Yeah, most of our low fantasy is game based. You know, low fantasy, lots of magic, not really established. High fantasy is more like was often described as Lord of the Rings, with magic playing a minor role and more of a prophecy thing.
Like Warhammer Age of Sigma is high fantasy. Well,
Yeah, I'm confused as to
well,
that
like
statement.
Warhammer Fantasy is more like a more realistic, gritty sort of low fantasy setting.
Yeah, I think that they kind of fucked up there. That was definitely a point where they needed to add mostly, and then have maybe some examples of different types if you're going to be making an educational video, like I assume this is tagged as. So, yeah, let's keep going.
To transport people between dimensions, the new world has a ton of magic, whether they're a foreign world or a mystical.
Again, a ton of magic, not necessarily.
Well,
you can
ton
have
of-
one where it's...
Yeah,
Yeah,
in my
one where
understanding, tons of magic is low fantasy, not high fantasy.
And
Generally.
the other thing is you can have... It's like the tick. I'm going back to that analogy, but the tick box. It's like, yeah, okay, you can have magic, but it's not 100% necessary.
Well, it also depends on what are the rules or the settings for the magic. Like, there could be a society where, yeah, magic is a thing, but like very few people know about it, or very few people know how to use it. You know,
Yeah,
there's always
it's-
that. Or it could be a setting where, you know, magic is very common, but like at the higher, there are like higher levels or tiers. Say, for
Yeah,
example,
but
Overlord, where
just systems when you have magic.
Well,
not-
there's certain isekais where there just is not magic at all.
True. Yeah.
Anyway, let's keep going.
Take on a historical period. Another common element is fate. It's never random chance that brings the protagonist to this new world.
What?
They're there for a reason.
No! That's just wrong!
Konosuba
Okay.
Konosuba is an accident and not.
Like,
Star, you're more of an expert on this. Why don't you take the
Ugh.
stage?
There's...
Name a, yeah.
Keep on
Konos-
talking, I have to remember
Well, let's say
the name of... one
Konosuba
that I'm
isn't
thinking
fate.
of.
Konosuba isn't fate.
yeah, that's like a lot of the time it's not really.
Like, there's plenty of isekais that are just I was accidentally brought along when the real heroes got summoned.
Hell, fucking.
That's
fucking-
not fate!
And
Yeah, well,
hell,
I
fucking Log Horizon in its own right. It's not like it's like we still don't know the actual.
I
Yeah,
haven't
it's-
seen it, but that show where the girl becomes the fucking spider monster
Yeah,
thing,
Kumaga Naniga,
wasn't
if
that
I'm
an
right.
accident because of magical explosion?
Yes,
Yeah,
that
their
was an accident, I
entire
read that.
class accidentally got summoned.
and
Yeah,
slime.
no, they didn't get summoned. They actually all died. Like,
yeah,
during
their
the accident,
classroom
but
fucking
that world
exploded.
just revived them because he
Yeah,
felt bad.
yeah, but they still got summoned anyway. Their souls, at least, their knowledge,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to.
But like,
Yes,
it's not a fate thing. It's not
Yeah.
like that's the
Again,
But there's like certain ones where it's like you are the hero, but that's not all of them.
Well,
That's-
you see, this is the
by
problem.
now probably a minority.
We're suffering the same problem the other guy had, where he's like they're making generalized statements on things that are not generalized, right? Like you can't.
Yeah, I also want to mention
definitive.
that, like...
It's a definitive statement of they have fate, right? Like it's a fact
Fate.
statement.
It's a thing.
Yeah, I just want to mention that like Buddhism and sort of Shintoism to an extent is incredibly like fatalistic in a sense. Like the universe has its own order and there's no deviation from it.
Yeah,
so
but the
there's
issue,
also that cultural aspect.
Yeah, there's a bit of that, but again, you can have.
It's
not like we have hard and fast rules. That's the problem with Crunchyroll's statement. You can't state something as being a hard and fast rule when it's clearly not.
Okay, but you didn't let me finish my point. Well, like sort of like Western theology is like, well, there is a path, but there's many deviations. Like it all depends on your choice. So
right, but
it's not inherently.
That's also not really true because if you got more of a Protestant slant to Christian faith in Protestant
but this
denominations, you got more of a
I was gonna say
deterministic-
how is this relevant? Is my issue right now. Like the statement that we're refuting here is that Isekai primarily involves fate as a driving,
which is not
not always.
which is
clearly angle.
Yeah, which is clearly not
Yeah.
correct in terms of.
It's the weirdest thing coming after we
praised.
The thing her going on about like it's mostly high school students, so she got that right.
Yeah, that's what infuriates me more, is they got it right the first time, and now they just keep fucking it up. Like, you got it right the first time, why
just
you...
add like 2 more words, and it will be fine.
Yeah, like, so far, if the video had just added those extra words, it's not necessarily a bad explanation to, like, a layman of what the genre is. So, yeah, we're about halfway, so let's keep going, and we'll see if they continue.
Whether the locals know it yet or not. This can take the form of a special ability only the character has.
Hang on a minute. No, wait. So Fate is having a special ability that only the main character has? What?
I would disagree. Like, ignoring my thing about the Western thing, like, fate is basically the idea of that you're here for a reason.
Yeah,
and
that doesn't have...
There's a reason for you being here. It doesn't involve a special power. Like, for example, if I'm fated to stab Netsunu in the back, alright, that's going to happen no matter what, alright?
There's something you're not telling us?
I'm just using it as an example, Netsunu. Also, Netsunu, come to my house at night, it'll be fine.
No, I know what you're talking about. But, I don't understand. Like, they made the point about fate, and now they've transitioned into a point about having a special power as being related to that fate. But it's not... It's not... I want to keep going.
Your fate is to be a Mary Sue.
Let's go.
Yeah, okay.
Which can turn the tide in a war between good and evil, or just a certain something that the character has that makes them fit to rule and brings
But that doesn't have anything to do with the fate.
Even if the character's fit to rule, that doesn't make it fate that the character has to rule in the future.
Yeah, I don't know what they're on about there, but anyway.
Noble warriors to their side.
Wait.
Oh my God.
Wait a minute.
Defining aspect of Isekai.
The
Romance.
defining aspect of Isekai is the harem.
I'm lagging a little bit. Can you just...
Okay, I'll keep going.
Finally, there's romance, which is where the biggest differences between genders comes into play.
Yeah.
Oh!
No.
Oh!
No. No. That's... No. Okay, you can call that like an...
Wait, 1 sec. I'm lagging
Depends.
behind a few seconds. Can you rewind a little bit?
No. You rewind, and then that should resync everything if you do it.
All right.
So you
Wait,
just.
I just want to mention.
What do you have on your screen?
I'm at 156.
I can't see the. I
I'm
can't
at
see
155.
the timestamp. Do you see a blushing girl on screen?
I see a blushing
Yes.
girl on screen.
Alright, then
yeah.
we're synced.
Okay, so
I just want to mention that shoujo manga is generally for female audience, so that's why they have a female main character. And shonen manga is usually for a male audience, which is why they have a male main character.
like
Yeah.
There's a
just-
little bit
this is
stating the obvious.
That's the definition of the genre.
okay. Let's keep going.
Suitors, but one main love interest, with the drama of the story or rivals in love preventing the lovebirds from tying the knot. The boys of shonen isekai tend to play the field, encountering groups of gorgeous girls with powerful magic and an attraction to the mysterious suitor. There's an element.
How is
Again-
that different from any other kind
Yeah, again, this is
Of
not. These are just
Japanese
tropes.
medium?
Yeah, again, these are just common tropes within the medium. These are not,
Not even
stuff that is.
isekai.
Yeah, this is not stuff that's exclusive to the genre of isekai. So explaining it doesn't really add anything to the explanation. Because again, this could be just applied to any genre. Like you can have sports anime that have these same tropes in them. So
No, you don't understand. Bakemonogatari is an isekai.
True.
all right, let's keep going.
Yes, I know. Also.
Element of escapism to isekai, similar to the attitude that motivates Chunibyo. Many of
What?
these characters are either unpopular.
So
What?
That can.
Yeah, they're not talking about the show Chunibyo. They're talking about the
No,
attitude of-
I know, but the trope Chunibyo,
Yeah. I'm
that's
saying that.
That's a
reaching.
stretch.
A very
But
big stretch.
I wouldn't say it's entirely incorrect.
Not necessarily incorrect, but it's still a bit it's still a bit Alright, let's keep going.
Popular, dysfunctional, or suffer from some sort of vague sense of unhappiness with their lives. Although the new world is scary at
Kirito's
first,
a
their
good
struggles
example
force
of that.
most of them to grow and become attached to the isekai, to the point where many of them no longer wish to return home by the end of the story. Many of the
Kate
greatest
isn't a
anime
good-
classics are isekai, including Fushigi.
Kate is also a
Okay.
good example of that.
Okay.
I also just want to mention that, since majority of those characters are teenagers, I mean, as a teenager, did you really know your place in the world or what you wanted to do? Especially you've got hormones and teenage
Well,
angst.
that's the point of the story, is finding a place to belong and finding
Yeah.
your role in life. So that's normal in those stories.
My takeaway from this.
Yeah, especially when they're teenage protagonists.
My
That's
takeaway
not
is
exclusive to isekai.
I know. Let's go.
Oh, well, no, Lolly wanted to say something.
Oh no, I was gonna say my takeaway from all of this is we need to be better at watching this in one shot and narrating as we go along or commenting as we go along. What to do to shit? 30 seconds left.
Alright, we're
Shut the
almost
fuck
there.
up.
Yugi, Inuyasha, and Escaflowne. And the genre is still going strong with recent hits like ReZero, Gate, and even Drifters. What was your first isekai? If you were transported to another world, would you leave or stay? Let us know in the comment
Depends
section
on
below
the
or
isekai.
tweet your answers to us at Crunchyroll with the hashtag
Well,
Anime
okay,
Academy.
my
Thank you
first-
so much for watching. If you like this video,
No, pause
please
this
give it
shit.
a
We're
thumbs
not
up and
we're not gonna fucking.
I'm pretty impressed they brought up Drifters, because that's not one people
That was
usually bring up.
that was a good choice actually.
No,
was Drifters.
everyone's.
I fucking love Drifters.
That's
Twisted
so good.
by the
Yeah,
battle
yeah,
in my
yeah.
motor every day.
Yeah, you don't need to sing.
I
You
love
don't
that
need to sing the opening.
fucking
but yeah.
opening.
It's good, but you don't need to.
Anyway, so okay, so everyone's first isekai is when they're born into this world because you're pulled out of the
True. Very true.
It reminds me of the people like battle royales so much because it reminds them of when they were just a little sperm trying to get to the egg.
Well, no, battle
they had
royale.
to win that battle royale.
Well, no, for anybody who's American, battle royale just reminds them of high school.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but no one
So-
wants to go
Can
back
only
to
be
high school,
one.
so that doesn't
Okay.
make much sense. Let's be
Okay,
honest.
so getting back to the video, I think it was okay. I feel like again they should have added a couple of mostly
Qualifiers.
in there. Should have added a couple of qualifiers in there, but overall, I'll give them the credit that I would say that it's a pretty decent layman's introduction to the genre.
Too bad
Might
there's
not be
a bunch of stuff that didn't relate to isekai. They've gone.
Yeah,
they could have
that
gone
was-
deeper on
yeah.
other stuff that is specific.
They
to
had a
isekai.
show in there. They had a show in there as an example that was blatantly not isekai. 11
Yeah.
Eyes isn't an isekai.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a video that claims to be educational, like, I feel like this is going to make people more confused than anything else when they go into the
Well,
more advanced stuff.
I'm
No.
not surprised.
I don't know, because by that time, people, I think, will have a better, like, grip, and they will not remember this fucking video.
Well, yeah, no, it's.
Well, I'm not going to remember it. I'm going to forget this video in an hour.
Well, they're
so...
trying to sell a product. You have to understand.
Yeah, and you know, the half
money,
of
money.
the half of
Try to
the stuff
figure
that you
out-
learn in chemistry in your elementary or whatever school system you use isn't really true. So, but you'll forget it and learn what it really is in later education.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh my god! I just figured it out. Crunchyroll is Anime Academy Anime Academy is basically preschool for anime fans. Holy shit!
Yeah. So overall, I think other than a number of glaring examples, I'll give them the credit that I don't really have anything else wrong with the video in terms of stuff.
See-
The video production is clearly okay. It's not terrible. They didn't have the same issues with the last one in terms of the music. They didn't have subtitles shown on the fucking screen. So the common stuff that we complain about wasn't really a problem. So I'll give them a little bit of credit there, but definitely, in terms of the educational value of this, I think as a bare bones introductory course, it's probably passable. But it has glaring issues.
It's even you can even say it's a general introduction to anime as a general even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of piss poor in that. I will say, though, I can tell that, this is just an aside, I can tell that this lady has taken a public speaking course because the hand gesture she was using is actually how, if you've ever seen, like, a TED Talk or, like, any sort of, that's what you do when you're standing up and speaking. You have to kind of emote.
I also want to mention that, like, I know this is like anecdotal, but when I was like getting into anime, I found the stuff all on my own through experience and stuff. So there's also that way as well.
So a normie video for normies. It's probably
it's better than the first one, which was everything is an isekai, everything that is remotely in a different setting than the character originally was. Then it's an isekai, which is
Starship Troopers is an isekai.
Yeah, basically.
Starship Troopers is an anime.
Is an isekai.
Yeah, Starship Troopers is an anime.
There is a Starship Troopers anime.
Oh, no, there's several.
I haven't watched it yet, but...
The Matrix is an isekai.
Oh.
Trapped in a video game world.
Isekai. Everything's
See,
an isekai.
so
what I really want answered is, out of all of the anime she showed in this video, what % of them are being streamed on Crunchyroll?
80%.
All of them, of course.
80?
What
That
year is
low?
this?
No.
What year is this? Because
Oh, that's true, because they lost a ton of
Was
theirs,
it?
didn't
Was
they?
this
Yeah.
before the split?
Well, I don't know. It's like a year or maybe even 2 years ago.
To be fair, them losing all those licenses wasn't their fault. It was really just because Sony and was it AT&T, that's who owns Otter Media, just don't like each other.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, you should be pirating anyway, so it doesn't.
I disavow.
no.
I thought we don't condone
Disavow.
this.
Disavow.
I'm disavowing the incident. You're banned.
I'm disavowing the existence of https://nia.si. Disavowing.
Yeah.
Disavow everything.
Disavow.